Good morning, good morning. Thanks for joining the channel. Today's Monday, the first Monday following the Army West Point victory over Navy. Just thought I would point that out. I'm wearing my beautiful Beat Navy headgear, and this is actually the Army jersey from last year, honoring the ODA group that was the first into Afghanistan. I believe it's ODA group 574. It's right there on the sleeve. 574. Of course, their motto, to free the oppressed. Love this jersey because it's honoring the special forces of Army. Great game Saturday. Glad Army won, obviously. Let's see what to talk about today. Let's go back to the beginning. Diagnosis. I think I shared it on the last episode. I would walk you through the journey kind of from the beginning. I talked a little bit about being at Naval Air Station Fallon in Nevada and realizing that something was terribly wrong. Came back home. Home at the time was Lexington, South Carolina. Saw a neurologist, a Duke grad. He put me through all kinds of tests for about 3 different visits and exhausted everything. Still no answers for me. Symptoms getting worse. Mobility issues. Gait was all messed up. I was basically dragging my left foot to walk. The resting tremor had gotten noticeably worse. Started losing my voice because, of course, your vocal cords are controlled by muscles as well, just like basically everything in your body. And all the other non-motor symptoms were getting worse. Mood, sleep disturbances, depression, all that kind of stuff. And unfortunately, gang, hate to be the bearer of bad news, but Parkinson's disease and depression tend to be like this. And I've had my battles with that even before my diagnosis. Honestly, PTSD from my time in the Army brought on a lot of the depression. And so, yeah, we can talk a lot about the mental health stuff too. Definitely get your mental health squared away, gang. If you're eligible for DBS or think you'll be eligible for DBS in the future, you have to stay on top of your mental health. Otherwise, you can knock yourself out as a candidate for the surgery. So yes, that's very important. That's for everybody, not just folks with my situation with Parkinson's disease, but take care of your mental health. You get one shot at this thing we call life, and living with mental health is not fun. Mental health issues, I should say. So get help. Dial 988 if you're in crisis. The new national suicide hotline, 988. You can get connected to somebody 24/7. No, that's the PSA on that part. Yeah, I forget the doctor's name, but he exhausted all the tests that he could do as a frontline neurologist. So he sent me down to MUSC in Charleston, South Carolina, the medical university. And he did not tell me that Dr. Chang, who I saw, that she was an ALS specialist. Her focus and her specialty was Lou Gehrig's disease, or ALS. And she put me through a whole battery of tests and then brought in students and redid all the tests to show them how I was performing. And she sat down. She said, I got some good news and some bad news. I'm like, okay, good news first. She said, you do not have ALS. I was like, what? I had no idea that's why I was going down there, that they thought I had ALS, which thank God I don't have ALS. That's about a 2-year life expectancy from diagnosis. It's not a pretty thing. It's an absolute horrendous disease, and every penny spent toward ALS research is much needed, well-deserved, all that R&D. Like I said in a past video, a lot of ALS research actually, just going through that research, it actually benefits Parkinson's patients. They found therapies for Parkinson's patients that they were initially trying to put in place for ALS patients. Unfortunately, it didn't work for the ALS patients, but it works for Parkinson's, or it works for Hunter's disease, or Lewy body dementia, or myasthenia gravis, all those different neurological disorders that we all kind of feed into the same research pool as it works out. But yeah, that was the good news. No ALS. Bad news, she said, I think you have Parkinson's disease. And the reason why she said think and didn't give me a diagnosis is because she is not a movement disorder specialist. So here's my first big tip to you guys, well, second after the mental health thing. If you are expected of having Parkinson's disease, someone says Parkinsonism or Parkinsonianism, I don't remember how that's actually worded, and you're seeing a neurologist, make sure you get in with a movement disorder specialist, okay? Neurologists are seen for all kinds of things. Neuropathy in the limbs, fingers, feet, migraine headaches is probably one of the biggest categories that they're seen for in most clinical terms. But you want to see a movement disorder specialist. They spend their entire careers looking at Parkinson's disease. That's who you want your care to be with primarily, okay? And you're going to need that before even venturing into the DBS sphere of understanding how to get that surgery, how to be a candidate for DBS surgery. So she referred me to her colleague, a movement disorder specialist, who actually has left MUSC, and she is now working at Stanford. Fantastic neurologist. She had a great manner about her, took time to explain everything, very caring, understanding, and I mean, she got stuff done. I appreciate Dr. Vaughn's help throughout this process. But yeah, she put me through a whole battery of tests that were missed on the front end when I was in Lexington. And quite frankly, some of the tests they couldn't perform in Lexington, had to be performed there at MUSC. And the final thing that pushed me through on the clinical diagnosis, again, there is no test saying, yes, you have Parkinson's. It's a clinical diagnosis. The final test was something called a DaTScan, D-A-T-scan, DaTScan. And what that scan showed, looking into the limbic system of my brain, right in the middle of my brain, if you will, what you're supposed to see in both hemispheres is a little like purple-shaped comma-shaped area that will be purple in color. I said that totally wrong to begin with, sorry. And what I did not see, again, my symptoms were very aggressive in onset on the left side of my body, which is typical. About 90% of the time, symptoms present on the left for men. Kind of odd. But there was absolutely no comma shape or any purple to be found on the right hemisphere, which kind of fit. All the basal ganglia had died off completely, and that's why my left side of my body was so haywire. And on the right side, I saw some purple, but it was just basically a dot, and the dot was smaller than what it should have been, and there was no comma tail coming off of it. So the die-off in the basal ganglia on the right side had already begun. Fortunately, I was in shape, working out every day. I was actually in line to go to NCO Academy, the Air Force version of the NCO Academy. I had already gotten approval to go in spite of my medical profile, and you know, the fact that I was working out in some cases twice a day, getting up at 5 a.m. to work out, pretty extensive workout. The fact that I was doing all that exercise actually helped me greatly. I've been living with symptoms of Parkinson's since my 20s when I was in the Army. But yeah, that DaTScan showing that, she was able to say, yeah, I'm pretty sure you have Parkinson's, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to write on your paperwork Parkinsonianism or Parkinsonism, I forget how to say that. And we're going to put you on meds, and these meds are going to be specific to Parkinson's disease. If you get a reaction to the meds, and a favorable, positive reaction to the meds, then we'll know you have Parkinson's. If you take these meds and you have no change whatsoever, we got to go back to the playbook on this and figure out what exactly you have. Lewy body dementia or something else, or maybe ALS isn't off the table. So I got put on an agonist drug, and I immediately saw my symptoms start to subside. And so that's how I was able to, once and for all, be, a firm diagnosis, young-onset Parkinson's disease. With all that said, it's been a long journey. That was back in 2014 when I started testing. At the end of 2014, November was my deployment to Fallon, and then I came back, started the testing process. The actual DaTScan was not until July of 2015 at MUSC, and my diagnosis shortly on the heels of that scan. So it's been a long road, looking at 7.5 years now, I guess. Is that right? I'm doing math in my head. I was always told never do math in public, and it's so true. But yeah, it's a long road, and I got a little bit of time to go before DBS. But appreciate you guys tuning in. No, I rambled a lot. Oh, by the way, that right there is a replica of the Michigan National Championship ring. Ain't that beautiful? I only wear that because we beat Ohio. It usually stays on a bookcase shelf somewhere, but we beat Ohio. Yeah, if you will, subscribe button should be like right here. If you could hit on that for me, please. And then there's a little bell icon to the next to that. Once you subscribe, hit that bell notification. That way you'll get alerted when I have new videos. And I promise I'm going to try to get better at this. And hit the like button if you like this video, found something helpful. And by all means, discussion thread, put your comments below. I'll try to respond as many as possible. Any questions you have about the testing, the diagnosis, DBS, happy to answer them. So I'm Chris. See you next time.